Okay, hello everybody. So, today we are finally coming back after being out for many days. Okay. There we go. What was I saying? Yes, we're finally back. It's been probably, what's it been? Almost 2-3 weeks now since the last time we did one of these streams. And, I am quite excited to give this another try. So, as many of you probably know, I haven't really been able to stream recently. I recently had my wisdom teeth out, and it took a little bit longer to recover from than I really expected it to. I would keep trying to talk, and after about 10 minutes of talking about something, my jaw would swell up, and I'd stop being able to talk. And while that was enough that I was able to put together the video pretty recently, for those of you who have not seen it, I will link it in here real quick. So while I was out and unable to stream, I was able to get a script put together so that I put out this right here, which is a video about what exactly did we do for that Internet Explorer, or not Internet Explorer, the PDF crack bug we found back in April, I think. So it's a nice, about 10-minute long video talking about what exactly went into that. How did we find it? What was the bug? Some details about it. And there's also a little bit of discussion about why AFL didn't work as well as I'd hoped it would to find that bug. So, like I said, hopefully that's going to be useful for people. My plan is to put out a video like that pretty regularly. Hopefully it's going to be every week, but we'll see how that works out. I'm hopeful that I can put one out every week, but that might be a little bit on the ambitious side along with doing the streaming. But we'll see how things work out. So, hello again, everybody, for everybody who's tuned in recently. So let's see here. What is important? I think the first and probably most important thing for most people is that we're going to be taking a look at Internet Explorer again. Oops. Not thrilled that that keeps coming up like that, but so, like I said, we're going to be taking a look at Internet Explorer again. If you were here for the first 3 streams about this, we were taking a look at trying to find a Internet Explorer 5.5 vulnerability. Now, I'm not sure exactly what to call this bug. So, I kind of want to call it a 0-day because we're finding it basically the same way that we'd go about trying to find a 0-day. We're taking a test suite, a nice corpus of HTML and JavaScript files, and we're plugging them into Internet Explorer, which is more or less how you would go about trying to find a 0-day. However, we're not going, there's a very good chance that whatever we do end up finding isn't actually a 0-day, that it's something that was discovered many years ago, and that one of the test suites that we're taking advantage of here has put together a test to verify that they can, in fact, find it, and what I'm looking for here, not have a regression and accidentally include the same bug in, I think we were using the Chrome, no, we were using one of the WebKit test suites. What on earth is this? This is not what I thought I was clicking on. But what's important here is that we, while I was out and after the stream was over, I found out that Internet Explorer 5.5, the version that we've been using on Windows 95, actually is the same, well, not necessarily the same, but there is a version of Internet Explorer 5.5 that will run on Windows XP. So I got this VM set up very recently. I was setting this up about half an hour ago, and it looks like I don't have networking set up properly yet, which I need to fix. But I think the first part of today's stream is going to be getting that set up and working. So currently we have Internet Explorer 6.0, which is a little bit too new. for us to be able to test out exactly the same bug. So we're going to have to do a little bit to go back to an older version. I'm not entirely sure how to do that, so that's going to be exciting. That's the plan for today. I think the stream's probably going to go for about 3 or 4 hours. My plan is to go until about 7, possibly 8 p.m. tonight my time. So that is 4 to 5 hours from now, but we'll see how things go. It is the first time in quite a while that I've been able to do one of these streams, so we'll see how it works out. So to answer Peter's question from the chat, where do I work? So I work for a development shop. We do, right now I'm working on mostly like C development stuff, C and a little bit of C++ development, along with a whole bunch of Pythons. So not directly related. At different times I've worked on stuff a little bit closer to the security stuff, but right now it's mostly just low-level development. So yeah, that's about what I do. And luckily for everyone watching, and for me too, today is Labor Day in the US, and that means that I get the day off work today. So instead of working in the office, I'm sitting here at home, streaming, finding Windows old Internet Explorer bugs. So, while we're going here, let's get this all set up. So my guess here, the reason we can't get online is because we don't have the networking set up properly. So the VM software I'm using right here is Hyper-V. Personally, I prefer Hyper-V for... This is set up properly. For doing virtualization, because I use a Windows desktop as my host. And at least my opinion on it is that the Hyper-V hypervisor is very tightly integrated to the Windows kernel, which means that you get a lot better performance than you typically do for... Oh, this is awkward. You get better performance than you would with some of the newer... not newer, but if you use like VMware or VirtualBox or something like that, I've seen better performance, especially when it comes to... the word I'm looking for, laptops. I've talked about this a couple of times. I was talking about it in Ginvale's IRC chat last week. But my experience with it is when I do CTF stuff, I have a laptop that I use for it, and I found that having a Windows host running Hyper-V and then having a Linux, usually it's a Ubuntu virtual machine, has been the absolute best for battery life from any of the things I've tried. I've tried using VMware, both with a Windows and a Linux host. I've tried VirtualBox a while back. I've tried just bare Ubuntu. And at least from my experience, what I found is that's what I like best because it integrates so well with the Windows kernel. And then Windows directly supports all of my hardware so that even though the underlying guests don't support my hardware at all, I still get a lot of the benefits thanks to Hyper-V being so well integrated. So, with that said, we need to figure out why this VM doesn't have networking. Because before we can do much here, we need to actually get... Oh, I misclicked there. We need to get some networking working here. So the plan right now is we're going to come in here. We're going to first get networking turned on. Looks like probably we don't have a driver for my network card, which is weird. I'm a little bit surprised that the default Hyper-V network card doesn't just work. But I am using... So this VM right here is the earliest version of Windows XP that is available from the MSDN subscription stuff. Which, if you're not familiar with it, MSDN... If you buy a Virtual Studio license, I think the cheapest one is $1,600 or something like that. But if you buy one, you get access to MSDN. And among other things, you get the... let's pull this around so we can actually read some of it. But you get access to some downloads and things like that. And some of the stuff you get is you get test versions of all these operating systems for testing purposes. Like, the idea is, if I'm developing something, like I'm developing some sort of application, I need to test it, and I need to test it on not just whatever development operating system I have. I really should test it on all the things I think my users are going to have too. So the idea is that Microsoft offers this. I think it costs about $1,600 a year for the lowest tier of Virtual Studio. And once you get that, it also comes with all, I think it's all the versions of Windows XP and onward, as well as a few older operating systems. The ones prior to XP are hit or miss if they have them. When we first started the Windows 95 streams about a month ago, I had thought that Windows 95 was included as part of that subscription, and it turns out it was not. We went through a huge problem trying to track down a good source for it, because I didn't want to pirate it. Given that I'm streaming all of this, I would much rather use a legitimate source of the operating system. But eventually we tracked one down, we got it set up, we got everything going. And to answer Peter's other question there, what we did to try and look at Internet Explorer was, well, so I guess to start with, the idea of these old school vulnerability streams was, let's take a old piece of software, Windows 95, the old versions of Internet Explorer that run on Windows 95, and let's use relatively new tools and techniques to try and find bugs in it. Is the stuff we're using today better at finding the kind of bugs we still have today, or is it actually good at finding bugs in general? Like, is AFL, so as a canonical example, is AFL the best tool to find bugs from 20 years ago? Now, I think it's kind of obvious that if I had AFL 20 years ago, for one, I wouldn't have any of the tool chain to use it. And two, I can't really compile anything for AFL, so I'm not sure how that's going to work, but the more general question is, can we relatively easily find old bugs? And at least part of the answer is yes, quite easily. What we did was we took the WebKit test suite, and we just loaded up all of their crashing tests. So as part of the WebKit test suite, they have this huge collection of, here are inputs that at one point or another were identified to crash WebKit. We just took all of those and jammed them into Internet Explorer 5.5, let it chug through, run, and we only got one that crashed the entire process. It ended up having a null deref. If I remember correctly, and it's been a few weeks, so my memory might be a little bit spotty here, what we found was that it was a null deref if you deleted the body of an HTML document and then called a certain function to modify the body. And it turns out what I was hoping for was that the body would be a heap allocation, so that we'd be able to take advantage of that. That basically what was happening was they were freeing the body. We could get in there, sneakily allocate something, and have it slide right in where the body had been on the heap, and then the function that was going to act on the body would then act on an object we fully control. But it turns out we weren't that lucky. We didn't look a whole lot into it, because there were a whole bunch of problems we ran into with trying to do debugging, trying to test things. What we finally ended up doing was take it. So we take an input, we run it in Internet Explorer 5.5, and it crashes the process. Now, the usual types for the usual techniques for getting something going, like I'd like a core dump or something like that, and pull that off. But it's not quite that easy. We couldn't get any debuggers running. So we eventually got Ollie debug running, and we could catch it, but trying to pull that out didn't quite work very well. The best way to do debugging that I found was after Internet Explorer crashed, Dr. Watson, which was the crash reporter, would take a core dump, and it would eventually push it out over the network out to the Windows stuff, like the Windows debugging servers. So the trick was, while that was running, there was that core dump on disk, and if we were quick at killing the process, we were actually able to grab that core dump, pull it off the system, and then put it into just regular WinDebug, because it just runs in WinDebug. Windows is great about backwards compatibility. I was able to take the core dump from, I guess it's actually called a mini dump on Windows, isn't it? But the crash dump from Windows 95, load it into the brand new Windows 10, well, not the brand new. If you follow Windows stuff, you will have seen that there's actually a brand new version of WinDebug that was released a week or two ago with, is there a link here with the new one? Yeah, I don't see a picture of it. But they just released a brand new WinDebug with, oh, here we go, with the like Office ribbon layout and stuff. So I don't have that set up yet. But the new, a month ago, Windows 10 WinDebug was able to successfully open a core dump from Windows 95 from Internet Explorer. The problem was that we couldn't get the symbols right. I'm not entirely sure what was happening, but the symbols for Windows 95, it looks like, at least the version we were using, were no longer available on the symbol server. So we kind of cut short some of the debugging stuff, because while we probably could have gotten it running eventually, I'm not sure it would have been worth the time, given that it already looked like, looking at the disassembly, it looks pretty clear that it's a null deref of like a hard-coded area. It probably isn't going to work very well. So today we're going to move to doing the same thing. So we still have that big test suite to go through. But my hope here is that if we use the XP version of Internet Explorer 5.5, we're going to have a much better debugging environment. Rather than having to grab each of those core dumps, move them off, look at them in WinDebug on my host here, mess with them there, decide on something, go back, like having to loop around and things like that is a little complicated. So the alternative is on Windows XP, I can actually get an old version of WinDebug that works on Windows XP. And at least the hope here is that that's going to make it a lot easier to do a lot of debugging, because it looked like several of the test cases we had were causing recoverable errors in Internet Explorer. So depending on how, so I don't know enough about how Internet Explorer 5.5 does crashes, but from the looks of it, it was causing an error in the renderer and crashing, or causing some sort of an error, but the like main Internet Explorer process was able to handle that somehow, and it just presents an error to us rather than causing a core dump and erroring. There's a chance that those are still exploitable bugs. We just need to get this all up and running so we can actually take a look at it. And the first step here is we need to take this and actually get it on the network, because I'm a little bit surprised that I don't see any network here, right? Computer, disk drives, DVD, floppy, IDE, keyboards, mice, other devices. It's probably one of these two, but ports, processors, sound and video, system devices. So none of these are actually the other ones. So let's see here. We need to go figure out what we're doing here. When we have this, it looks like we definitely have the, I pulled this up over here before, but we actually, it really looks like we have like the network adapter, we have it turned on, we have it connected. If we take a look at this, so this is the settings for the VM that I do all the Linux stuff from. the networking looks the same, right? They're both on the same switch. They don't have any wacky settings turned on. Looks like it works, right? It seems like the problem is clearly we need to grab a driver for this. So Hyper-V network driver. Gonna be this easy? Okay. Okay. So at this point, I'm kind of poking around here. Legacy network adapter also supports network-based installation. But how do I find out what the network adapter being emulated actually is? I know that there's a network adapter. But I don't actually know. I know that on VMware, I think it tells us what it is, but I want... I want to find this. So to answer Dutch Ghost's question, how did I get started? So for the most part, the way that I got started in a lot of this stuff was through CTFs. I started playing CTFs many years ago when I was in college, and basically ever since then, I've been playing CTFs, poking at things, doing things like that, and working on some of the jobs I've had brought me a little bit closer to that or farther away from it, getting to work on low-level systems, working on some embedded devices, things like that. But in general, a lot of it's come through CTF stuff. Like, I get to play CTFs constantly. I didn't get to, this past weekend, play in Tokyo Westerns. I had some other things I was working on instead, but that was apparently a ton of fun for the rest of my team that participated in it. This coming weekend, so... my time, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. on Friday, is going to be the ACES CTF, which I expect to be a ton of fun. So we played in the qualifying round several months ago. Their finals are online and open to everybody, but the only people eligible for prizes were the people who qualified back whenever that was. Then the following weekend is going to be Seesaw, which is always a ton of fun. So yeah, if you're interested in this kind of stuff and have the time to spend on it, I definitely recommend playing CTF the next couple weekends. They should be great. Yeah, the RHME was also a lot of fun. I only ended up solving the Pwnable. I was pretty strapped for time during that time period. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff to work on the stream, and then after I had my wisdom teeth out, I wasn't really up for doing much at all other than sitting on the couch and watching crappy sitcoms. So I didn't end up getting to do quite as much as I had hoped for with it, but it was enough that I should be getting a board at some point, at least if I understand the way that it works. So hopefully come March or whenever the board part of the competition ends, hopefully I'll be able to put out some stuff about that too. Because I've liked watching the ones that Live Overflow did for last year's version. Hopefully I'll get to put together something for this year. So yeah, let's get back to this real quick. So we need to figure out how on earth... Well, this isn't helpful at all. We need a Windows XP... Windows XP... Hyper-V guest... Oh, there we go. This is what I want. That one. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm typing. Here we go. This looks promising. Okay. I need mean, all I need here is the link to the device driver. Come on. This is a lot of information that doesn't really matter. Okay, Oh, so there is an option for this legacy network adapter. Maybe that'll work better. Let's switch over to that. Settings, I want... Oh. We need to shut this off. Turn off. Settings. Legacy network adapter. To connect to this, apply, move this one. Okay. So while this is starting up, no, we do not want to boot from CD. Let us disconnect that. Eject it. My favorite website for CTF VMs. I don't actually get to play in many war games. So most of the ones that are like, here's a VM, go play at it. I don't tend to have a ton of free time to look at those. I prefer to play in live CTFs. So things that are only open for a few days or maybe a week. Because it forces me to make time for it. At least personally, I found that if I don't have a schedule to stick to, I tend to not do it at all. I'm pretty bad about procrastinating. It's actually one of the reasons I enjoy streaming so much, because it forces me to actually do this. Something like finding Internet Explorer bugs, especially old Internet Explorer bugs, is something that sounds like fun. It's something that I've kind of wanted to do for a while. But it was always something that I could do next week or next month. But being able to do the streaming meant that I have a block of time right now. I'm going to do it right now. And I find I do the same thing with war games and things like that. The fact that there's not a deadline for it means that I tend to put it off and never end up doing it. So I don't actually have a good answer for you about finding them. Personally, I just go to ctftime.org and play in whatever is running this weekend. This weekend is ACES CTF. Next weekend is going to be Seesaw, which there's enough stuff that it isn't even on the page yet. But Seesaw, there's going to be some other stuff throughout the month. It's going to be a ton of fun. That's my plan, at least. So, back to this. We are rebooted now. It looks like we actually got the networking enabled this time. So, look at that. Turns out just enabling the legacy driver was able to get it. So now we need to figure out how to downgrade this. So we're going to have to uninstall Internet Explorer, but if we uninstall Internet Explorer, we won't have a browser. So I guess to start with, let's do some research real quick. So IE 55 Windows XP. Supposedly old apps will have this, whatever old apps is. I think I've used old apps before. This looks good. So I want to go to, oh, my mouse jumped there. Old apps. Oh, this is not going to work at all, right? This is before your browser would automatically default to some sort of a, oh. Oh, are we getting pushed? No. That's odd. This loaded, didn't it? Okay, this is, interesting. So to actually answer Dutch's question, Rust is actually something I really want to learn how to use better. It's something that I keep intending to learn, and like I was just saying, it's something that I've procrastinated quite a bit about actually learning how to use. One of my coworkers loves it. He actually writes a ton of Rust, but I haven't had the time to sit down and do it. At least according to him, he finds it is faster for him, but it took about a weekend worth of time to learn how to use it, as opposed to writing C. It's mostly faster because he has to be more explicit about things, which means his code is less buggy. The problem there is that I need to sit down and spend a weekend learning it, and at least so far I haven't had that. But I'm a huge fan of it. I hope I've actually been hoping that I'll be able to take some time and stream about it at some point. But we'll see. I am super confused about how we're managing to not have, like, we have access to MSDN or MSN, but not Google. Oh, this is way too big. Make this smaller, please. Okay. Pinggoogle.com. So we're getting a similar IP address. Like, it should work. Okay, well, I mean, MSN is a search engine, right? Old apps. Yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, wow. Well, that's exciting. Okay, we're going to take the other route here, which means, if you remember when we were doing the Windows 95 stuff, we ended up setting up Apache and a web server so that we could actually host images or host pages to load in our IE. Now we just need to actually get it set up right now. But we'll give this a second here. So this right here, it says it's doing just HTTP. And like it starts loading, and then there's an operation aborted and it crashes. I think the best bet here is once I get this other VM up and running, because apparently I did something awful to it. Come on. No, get me out of this VM and into this one. Yes. Don't reset it. You finally booted. Once this is set up, I need to figure out what the IP address is for it is now, because I haven't used it in a little while, and it's on dynamic IP addressing. So once I have this up and running, we'll be able to SSH into it, basically download it on my host here, put it up on this web server, and then we should be able to download it from the web server into this other VM. Okay, so SSH 192.168.5144. Yes, trust it. Of course, trust it. Okay, and if we come in over here, we should see that 192.168.5.144 should load. It did not load. Okay. So what's going on here? Did we get the response over here? So if I do sudo type in my password, var log. What is var log Apache? Is it not var log? Is it not running on here? Is that the problem? Yes. So there is some host guest stuff. The big problem is that it, as far as I know, probably doesn't support Windows XP. I probably can get the, I could probably do like SMB sharing, but at least at this point, okay, so I apparently don't have Apache running on this one. So, which VM were we using then? So that's a Windows VM. Let's try this one. Yeah, so it looks like Apache isn't installed on this VM, which is a little confusing. Connect to this other one. So I've got the whole list of VMs that I've used for different things. Like, there were the 2 different VMs we tried to get set up for Windows 95. We've got 2 different Ubuntu VMs. This is a Windows 10 VM, I think. I'm not actually sure what I was doing with this one. And then the Windows XP one that we just started with. So let's try this other VM and see if this is any better. I thought this was the right one, but apparently not. So, oh, huh. So, sorry, I'm, ooh, oh. That's unfortunate. Let's save you and turn you off. This is something speaking of things that I procrastinate about too much, I keep intending to upgrade this desktop. The desktop that I've been using to stream from is my old gaming machine that I set up 4 or 5 years ago. So it was pretty nice at the time. Right now it's getting to be a little bit difficult to run a ton of VMs and run all the streaming stuff and things like that. And RAM is the big thing. I keep meaning to just spend the money and go buy another 32 gigs of RAM and jam it in here. But it's something I procrastinate about. I do that a lot. But while we were waiting for that, I lose. No, I want you to be smaller. I've been. I'm always a huge fan of metrics, and it looks like I've never been able to find a good place that had the metrics of who was streaming at what resolution for the streams. That's pretty cool. That I finally figured out where to find that for this. For whatever reason, some of the analytics are just not particularly good for YouTube. Some of the stuff that I'd like to have, I don't actually know how to find. Like, I would like to know what resolution people are watching the videos at, because it helps me decide what resolution I need to have them at by default. Like, if everybody's watching it at 360p, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to spend time making 1080p graphics and things like that, especially for the videos. But, yeah. Var log. Where did I put this? Like, I'm not crazy. We definitely had this set up last week. Well, last stream. Yeah, I have no idea what happened. Like, there's no way I... okay. So we're gonna kill this one, go back to the other one that I'm more used to using. Turn off. Yes. We're going to start queue again. It's okay. You can disconnect now. Okay, so we're back here. We have no var www. Raises so many questions for me. I have no idea where this VM went then. I should move this down a little bit so we can actually see it better. Where were we? We have this apt get install Apache 2. Yes. I mean, this explains why we weren't able to connect to it, which I guess is good. Have people been seeing stuttering in the stream? Looking at some of the stuff, it looks like YouTube was complaining a little bit about it. But if it was all lying to me, I'm not sure I care too much. So I've thought about using Vagrant. Again, it's definitely on the type of the list of things that I wish I knew how to use better and just have never gotten around to using. Like, Vagrant and Docker are two things that I kind of wish I had the time to go learn how to use really well. And unfortunately, they're just low enough on the list of priorities that they'd probably save me time if I knew how to use them properly, but not enough time to actually learn how to use them properly. It's really unfortunate. It's similar to how I feel about things like Dvorak. Yeah, so the plan here is I'm going to download this here on the host, put it into the VM, and we can download it here super easily. So we have that. I need to download this. Sure, I will download your sketchy executable. I'm sure it's perfectly fine. What's the worst that happens? Once this is pulled down, we're going to move it over there. So SCP down. SCP down. 192.168.5.144. Yep. We've done that. And now we want to... Hello, people who just joined. We want to copy from home me here. Okay. So, with this done, we should be able to come in here and download this. So it is called, if I can get in here properly, IE55sp2.exe. Okay, we're gonna do this the right way, which is rm. When I say right way, it's kind of loosely defined. Yes, save this. Yes, so if you're not familiar with it, what is it? The Windows subsystem for Linux, or Bash and Ubuntu on Windows, is quite possibly my favorite Windows feature of the year. Earlier this year, Windows released the ability to... I don't understand all of the black magic that works under the hood, but you get a native Ubuntu distribution with Bash running on Windows, and it just works. So it doesn't work very well for GUI apps, and anything that uses forking is much slower, but otherwise it just works. So for things like I want to have native SSH, it just works. I definitely recommend it. Like I said, it's my favorite new feature for Windows that's come out this year. My previous favorite features are things like Hyper-V and things like that, but as far as this year goes, the Bash and Ubuntu on Windows stuff takes the cake. It's quite possibly my favorite feature. Again, the downside, and I've complained about this on stream before, is you need to do a little bit of work to get it to not look like crap. the default color scheme for the command prompt is completely unreadable. Yes, the Windows subsystem for Linux. Or no, I don't actually know what WSL stands for. Now that I've said it out loud a couple times, I don't know if I know what it stands for. But it's called WSL. It's also called Bash and Ubuntu on Windows. If we can get out of here, we can go to a browser and go Bash on Ubuntu on Windows. It's great. Definitely recommend using it. Yeah. I know a lot of people like the min TTY. Personally, there's a set of registry edits to make so that the default command prompt uses the what is it called? Solar color scheme, and I found that was good enough to make the default bash stuff was good. But definitely recommend this. It's amazing. I love it. Like, I have native Vim working on Windows now. Like, it's crazy. I know you've always had gvim, which worked fine, but having like native Vim I like a lot, as well as just native SSH, things like that. It's just so much less to have to install to make a system usable the way I want to use it. Okay, now is the dangerous moment here. We're going to try and remove Internet Explorer, which I think just works, but I don't know. I didn't even realize there was a 32-bit Windows 10 still. Like I thought with Windows 10 they stopped distributing 32-bit OSs. Here we go. I want to remove Internet Explorer. Okay. This may or may not break everything. So, for people who weren't aware, the Windows and Internet Explorer were very, very tightly coupled in the early 2000s. It's actually a lot of the reason for the old antitrust suits and things like that. Like, there was a whole big thing. There's actually, if you look at the different versions of Windows available, the Windows N versions, so Windows XP N and Windows Vista N, I think they even had Windows 7 N, those were all the versions that shipped without Internet Explorer. And those were for various, like, compliance reasons to, like, abide by different laws. I know the EU was really unhappy with them about some of it. I don't remember the specifics, because it's been, 15 years now since most of that stuff happened. But, I'm a little bit nervous that uninstalling Internet Explorer or downgrading Internet Explorer like this is going to cause all sorts of problems. But, who knows? I mean, if we're lucky here, this just works, and... Sure. So, we downloaded this sketchy executable, and it extracted some stuff. IE5 setup, sure. We'll run this. Okay, so this did not just work. So, come over here. Windows XP IE55. So this is going to be a little tricky, I think, because we need to oh, maybe I just need to restart. Let's try that before I go into too much trouble. It's possible it's detecting that it was still available. Like, we might as well start here by rebooting. It's pretty low cost to reboot like this, so starting with that sounds like it's a pretty good call. So I guess while we're waiting for this to reboot, for people who've watched the stream in the past, I how do you feel about the sound quality right now? I've done a few things a little bit differently, like I've tweaked the filters a little bit, and I also actually added a physical pop filter here. So I'm a little curious, like, is it actually working and actually sounding better than it was a month ago, or whatever it was? But my HP Pavilion for school use, and it could get some Linux, but for some reason the BIOS is locked for... Really? Huh. That's interesting. I don't... Why would they lock it so that it's only x32? That's really odd. So we got rid of that. Okay. So let's think about this for a second. I tried to get rid of it. I didn't get rid of it. What can I do here that would fix this? One option is that I was just talking about, is I can sit here and I can just download a new like I can download the XPN, can't I? And use that. I don't like that that's going to take so long, but let's get this started real quick. So I want Windows XP. Sorry, I'm intentionally not putting this on screen because it happens to also include a whole bunch of keys and things like that, which I would definitely not like to have on screen. That's odd. It tells me it's the same download regardless, but I can get different keys? Seems odd. Okay, here we go. Yes. We will download this. So this is going to take about 2 minutes now to download. What do you think about that? So you can't install the x64 version and can't get most Linux since the BIOS only expects... Huh. That is interesting. Yeah, I'm always super disappointed when I hear about like laptops and things that are really locked down for stupid reasons. So, how do we uninstall Internet Explorer? Control panel, we did this. Well, not this, but we... Oh, good. I'm going on CompuServe to find out how to do this. This is a sure sign that we're going the right route, right? Okay. Super excited that I am now getting RTFs off of CompuServe to understand what we're doing. Oh, do I also need to remove internet tools? Okay, I can do that. Control panel. Try to remove programs. How to remove programs. Oh, there we go. While this is going, we're going to come over here. We're going to create yet another new VIA. Create. Actually, no, I can't use create. I need a new virtual machine. Next, WinXPN. Generation 1. Let's go down to 512. We really don't need much RAM for Windows XP. We're going to not connect networking. Same virtual hard drive. We're going to use the Windows N ISO. Go ahead and start it. I don't use DuckDuckGo because I don't care enough. So at least my thoughts on it are I'm using Chrome anyway. So if Google wants to gather my information, they already have it. And by using DuckDuckGo, I only give an additional party access to all that information. So at least my thought on it is that the developers of DuckDuckGo claim they don't collect anything and they don't log anything, but I don't have any way to confirm that. And since I can't confirm that, I have to assume that they're collecting that information anyway. And I just end up with now, instead of just Google having access to my information, now Google and DuckDuckGo have access to my searches. At least that's the way that I see it. Yes, so I'm trying to remember where I found this, but XPIE55, there was a claim that there is a version of yes, so they're not supported, but the full version will work on XP, but you will need to download it on Windows 2000 and transfer the setup to the newer operating system. So supposedly you can get it to run, but it's not going, like, you can't get it by default, which is why, hopefully, if we uninstall some of this stuff, nope. My hope here is that we can uninstall it and get it to work here. If not, we have the other one creating in the background. Let's actually pull that up so we can actually see it. Watch this go. Okay. So that is the other VM building. I don't actually see anything else to uninstall here, which is unfortunate. If we didn't install is IIS different than the IIS web server stuff that the newer versions of Windows have? Seems a little odd that it was included like that, but I don't know. I don't make the decisions here. Okay, so we can't actually remove it, at least not that I can see. This isn't going to do anything either, is it? Oh, sure. I will install random things on my computer. Like, we're in a VM anyway, right? What's the worst that happens? Yes, install whatever this is, install it. Sure, we will always trust Microsoft. By trust Microsoft, I mean trust the sketchy website that I downloaded this from that claims it's coming from Microsoft. A newer version of Internet Explorer is already installed in this system. Sure, delete this folder. What happens? Yes. Yes to all. Yes to all. Yes. Okay. We're now going to reboot again. So we just I just straight up deleted the Internet Explorer folder here. Let's see if that worked. This might be one of those, it's technically installed, but now we've removed the stuff that they're checking for, so now it's going to work kind of situations. Kind of hopeful that's what this is going to end up being. There's also a reasonable chance that none of this Windows install is going to work anymore. We'll see. Oh. This worked better than I expected it to. And so, for anybody curious, normally I would create a checkpoint there before I did that, but because we're already building this other VM, I don't really care that much if I could kill this one. Like, I'm okay with us breaking this VM and having it never work again, given that we have the backup plan of I'm currently installing a version that doesn't have Internet Explorer on it. Delete. Delete. Run again? But how did this happen? Like, where's this coming from? Sure, you can be my default browser. How is that happening? Like, it's just automatically reappearing? Okay. Sure, what does this thing do? What does this do? Let's not install that. Microsoft Internet Explorer Administration. Sure, what does this do? Sure. And this is how we completely break a computer. Like, I kind of expect that after doing this, it's about to pop up and say, all your files have been encrypted by WannaCry, please send Bitcoin to... But, we'll see if that actually works. Is that one of those exes I can extract? So, 7-zip does magic that lets you extract almost any executable. So I just installed something. How about now? Okay, we're gonna reboot again. See where that gets us. Yeah, we can take a look at what's inside of it. I'm not sure where that's gonna get us. Well, so what I was saying was that 7-zip is magic, and it extracts a whole bunch of stuff, but it should open it. One of the problems is that I'm not sure it's going to open and directly extract all of those small things. So there's a whole bunch of files they packed up in an executable, and I'm not sure that 7-zip will let us pull those out. We'll see. That's definitely a good backup plan here. Backup plan? Something like that? Where are we here? Coming in here. Well, you always have the zip binary. Yeah, let's go grab this real quick. Let's see what happens. I'm over here. I downloaded this thing. It's this thing right here. 7-zip. Open archive. Here's the archive. Oh, hey, yeah, it does actually just pull everything up. So I want to... So let's go back up a level. How do I go back up a level? Back up a level. Extract all this. Yep. Yeah, I could definitely do that. I'm at least relatively hopeful I don't need to go that route. So I need to be a little careful here. We want to open this in 7-zip. So what is this doing? So this is what it looks like if we actually open it up. Here, open this in Notepad. Oh man, it needs 64 megabytes of RAM. Hopefully we don't break everything with our accidentally giving it a gig of RAM. Can you imagine, like, giving somebody in 2000, like the year 2000, here's 1 gigabyte of RAM, go. Like, thinking back to when I was that age, I don't even know what I would end up doing with it. Like, that would be crazy. We have the wizard. I think what's happening is the wizard is what's getting run. Where was that INF that I saw here? So there's a homepage INF. There's content at INF. What does this do? Oh, good. This is a whole bunch of just random numbers. That's what I want to see. None of those jump out at me as being particularly useful. Homepage I don't want to mess with. I don't care. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Wow, I have... So again, none of this jumps out at me as being immediately what we are looking for. Where did we see that? IE version 4. Yeah, we could try changing that. Although repacking everything might be a little bit painful. Where we sort of got this? Oh, I hate that Windows used to do this. Oh man. Oh, here, I need to remove this now, move it onto my other screen, and actually type in a product key, don't I? I was using this. I want the... Let's try using the same key then. I did not read this out loud. That's probably a bad idea. Okay, and we're back off and running. This is back over here. We're gonna next. Yeah, back in the long. No, stop downloading new versions of it. Many years ago, I used to work in IT, and we installed many versions of Windows XP. So there's a time I was very used to seeing this nice little installation window and getting the fact that they would start installing. Oh, you'd spend like 5 to 10 minutes installing Windows. Then you have to click next a couple times, type in a product key, click next a couple more times, and then it would take another half hour, 20 minutes, half hour to finish. Was absolutely crazy. Like, the amount of time that got wasted because of that is just stupid. Because I'd start installing it, 10 minutes is long enough that I would get distracted by something else, come back, 2 hours later, finally hit next, then have to leave again for another half hour. And a lot of the time it'd be like, I don't leave, I just have to sit here and twiddle my thumbs for the next 27 minutes until this thing actually finishes installing. Luckily, we're not in that boat right now, because we still have some other things to try here. So, software... We can, maybe the right answer here is there's a whole bunch of registry keys in this. Let's try mucking with those. So if we go in here and take a look at the register keys. So HKLM, software, Microsoft, Windows. I didn't even notice it until now. This XP VM actually lets me use the scroll wheel, which makes it infinitely better than the Windows 95 VM we were using. Current version. I want app paths and iexplore.exe. Yeah, we deleted that. Why does it think it's still there? Okay, what else is in here that might be useful? What does force install do? What does this do? So the good thing about GUIDs like that is that turns out they're very easily Googleable. That is the offline browsing pack. Force install. Like, force install sounds super good and is what I want. This doesn't look like it's helping me at all. Okay. I'm not seeing anything else that jumps out at me as being really what we were looking for. Like, we can try the route of modifying this and grabbing it out, but I'm not entirely sure what that's going to get for us. Like, it might get us what we want. Because none of these things, like options, none of these options look particularly useful, at least for what we're doing. Oh, ActiveX was already a thing here. That's a little surprising. For some reason, I thought ActiveX controls ended up being a little bit later in the development cycle. Like, they came around... I guess they were around in Windows XP, but like I didn't realize they were all the way back in like IE5 days. So I do kind of like the idea of changing this. Like, that might work. Is there anything else that might just get us what we want? Why is this so long? Like, I thought we already scrolled through some of this stuff. This folder is safe to delete.txt. I'd like that as a file name. There's all that, which I don't care about. So, most of that I don't care about. I'll just delete this. Nope. So, I think... Okay, so I want to go to, and I'm going to be a little surprised if this works, live.sysinternals.com. And we're going to try and run, what's it called? Procmon? I think Procmon. And see if we can watch what this thing's actually doing. What registry keys is it opening? What files is it opening? How is it trying to determine if IE is there? But if you're not aware of it, so sysinternals is a set of tools by Mark Rasinovich. Oh, interesting. Well, in that case, we will program files, Internet Explorer. They just turned off SMB1, didn't they? That's the problem. Okay, so I need to grab this. So live.sysinternals.com. Oh, have I broken everything? That's... Whoa. That's not how that was supposed to work. Let's shrink this window so that everybody else can follow along at home too. Sysinternals. downloads. I want the full suite. Yes. I already have several versions of it. So SCP. What is it downloading it as? Oh. Okay, so that went through. I now want to do CP like that. Going back to here. We want this. Sure, we'll just open this. So that's a thing you used to be able to do. Take a file off the internet and just use it. Okay, so I want Procmon. Daggered. Okay, we'll try this one more time. Where was it? Procmon? How do you spell that? Procmon. Yeah, I was concerned about that. That Procmon is too new for us to be able to use it like this. Ugh. Well, that's unfortunate. What other options do we have here? I mean, one of the clear options here is that we just wait the 4 more minutes for the Windows XP N to finish installing. Although now that I say that, we're going to have the problem of we need to actually get this in there. So in order to do that, what all do we need to do? Because Windows XP N doesn't come with Internet Explorer, so we can't browse to it. Right? Right, so Windows 2000 would work. The reason we're not using Windows 2000 is because I didn't actually see it on MSDN. Stop downloading that. Again, you can't see this, but I've every time I search for something on the MSDN subscription link, it downloads the Windows XP. It starts the download for the Windows XP N again. But yeah, as far as I can tell, it's not on MSDN. Although their new website is much harder to see what all they have. It's designed for searching, not for getting everything. So, here we go. We now have our new VM up and running. This one does not have Internet, or should not have Internet Explorer built into it. I think that's you know, I've been saying this for a while now, so I believe it's true, but we should probably verify that before we go way out on a limb here. So, Windows XP N. Was that? Oh, that is not with Windows Media Player. Well, this isn't good. Why did I think Windows N was... Internet Explorer? Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. This isn't going to work. Okay. So if we stop this, turn back around. So Procmon 2014 from 2014 should work. So I want to get just Procmon. Oh. I get the old versions? Is there an easy way to get the old versions? Because supposedly this should work, as long as Fabio isn't lying to me. But I don't see a way here to get the old versions of this. Use web. Yeah, that's a smart way of doing it. Okay, so I want this. I'm blanking. Way back. Machine. Huh. Okay, I want. This is a thing, but this is only the latest version still, isn't it? Oh, I should be able to use this, shouldn't I? Yeah, so the way that YouTube works, it won't let you put links in the chat unless you're a moderator or one of the or the person with the stream. So should work. They do that so people can't put just like random links into everything, which I appreciate, but it does make it hard for people to actually participate in some of the stream stuff. So this is hopefully going to give us a download. That gave us a download. Okay. We're going to grab this. So the live, oh, I got Process Explorer. I didn't want Process Explorer. Live.sysinternals.com. Oh. Is a website that lets you. I don't know if calling it a website is actually the right way to refer to it, but it's set up so that you can mount it over SMB and you get access to all the sysinternals tools. So it's really useful if you're a developer or like doing sysadmin stuff, because it lets you, like, on a brand new machine, easily get tools like Procmon or Process Explorer. Those. Okay, what is FLT-lib? Let's start there. Filter drivers. That makes sense that we don't have that. How do I get that? Right, so I need FLT-lib. Yep. What do I need to install to get this? So I guess the short explanation here is Procmon apparently uses oh yeah, this is going to work great. I'm going to download a random DLL off whatever this sketchy website is. Yep, this sounds really solid. Oh, here we go. This looks good. You can see File System Mini Filter Manager. This is super complicated. Wow, I'm not sure this is worth it. Oh, I also have a different version. Okay, maybe that's worth doing. Okay, so... Let's go back in time a little bit more. Wait, why don't we just go way back in time? Yeah, let's go back here. This should just work, right? So we're gonna grab... Come on. And we're gonna do that one. So this is a old version. In the installer is a description file with hits on which DLL does the version check. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay. So, what do you know what registry key that was? That would probably get us where we need to go if it's just a single registry key. So is it like current version? It is a function argument. Case procmon does not work. In the installer is a description file with hits on which DLL and function does the version check. Disassembling this function indicates that it only does a single registry check. Doop. Actually, now that I'm not as sold on this backup plan, we're totally creating a checkpoint before we go too far here. Before breaking everything. Okay. Hello, Alex. So for new people who are... Oh, this looks promising. We're going to change this to version 1. Version 1. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works now. Okay. Ha! Thank you, Robin. That totally just worked. There we go. We're now... There we go. Okay, let's reboot again and see what happens. And this is where it turns out we've broken everything and it won't even boot anymore. Okay, so... Ooh, look at that! Yes, resume setup. That's convenient. Come on. Come on. believe in you, VM. I believe you can do this. I trust that you're not going to disappoint me. Oh. Oh, reinstall everything. So let's restart again, but I want to go into safe mode this time and try and doing this in safe mode and see what happens. Okay, I want safe mode, yes. Let's see if maybe not having as much stuff running helps. Get to the point where it'll start running, but I don't have a clue why it's failing. Yes, safe mode. I do not miss having to do that at all. Although it is a fun trick, if you're not aware of it. So what they use to replace safe mode is actually able to change the password on the system. So if you have an unencrypted Windows machine, you're actually able to unlock it as you go. Like, you can just walk up to any Windows machine that's 7 and above, and even if it's password protected, just use it. Okay. Okay, so that didn't work either. Let's try Googling this error. So, setup was unable to install all the components, i.e. 5.5. Okay.
Or locate an existing system partition.
Okay.
The same process applies to Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. What I'll be doing is installing Windows from the hard drive instead of a USB or an installation disk. If you want to try...
Well, this isn't what I wanted at all. Oh, I should actually read what it said before I started watching random videos. Okay, huh. Yeah, so the trick is you don't actually need the Windows install CD to do that. You can actually boot. So I have a Windows 10 VM running here, don't I? Start this. We might see some frames drop here, just as a warning. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Seriously? What is this VM? P at SSW0RD. P at SSW0RD. So what kind of VM is this? I actually don't know what this VM is. This might be a Windows Server VM? Oops. Action, Control-Alt-End. So this is Windows 10 or is this Windows Server? Click Windows Server. No, this looks like Windows 10. Okay. No, you don't need access to any of this stuff. Oh, no, this is totally server. Okay, so we're going to right-click, shift restart, and go for it. Okay. So as this reboots, restart anyway. So this is why, if you care about like physical security, you totally need to encrypt your hard drive. So this is 100% just a stock Windows install. You boot into the new safe mode. It drops you in without a password to try and fix things. It gives me a command prompt. Ooh, this is asking for a password now. That's interesting. I don't remember how to do it. But this is enough of a tangent that it might not be worth doing. So I know they went through and fixed this because somebody was talking about it recently. Oops, that's not what I wanted. But the short version is the current version of the safe mode stuff, you were able to get into even if there was a password on the machine and get a command prompt on it. So you were able to do that exactly that trick. Replace the on-screen keyboard with a command prompt and just get a system command prompt. I do not have any so going back to what we were doing, I do not have any antivirus installed. Maybe we should uninstall as much stuff as we can. So, add or remove programs, we'll remove this. Yes, remove it. I do think it's kind of crazy that, like, even the first version of Windows XP, like, I don't think this is an admin account. Like, I'm just able to install whatever I want, and it's just like, yeah, sure, go for it. I don't care. Run it from the beginning. Go Internet Explorer installer. Yes, install all of that. Reinstall all components. So, they are clearly checking something else. So, let us reg edit again. So, what else can we do here? Change here. Like, I don't know. I don't have a good idea of what all we need to be changing here. I don't have a, without going through and reversing out this installer, and that seems kind of silly to have to reverse the installer to install something. There isn't anything in HKey current user, is there? Okay, we're gonna give this one more try. So I'm not sure what to do at this point. Like, this should work. Well, should is a strong word here. I would think that this would work. And clearly it's not. What options do we really have here? I can, what Windows XP do I have? It does not have any updates installed. It should, it's just the bare build 2600, which I believe is the first full release of Windows XP. So, is it running? Oh, that's clever. Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe that is the idea. We need to kill not just iExplorer, but Explorer. Okay, so I want to kill this. Yes, I know. I want to kill... Do I need to kill anything else here? Kill Regedit. Okay. Run it from the beginning. So the trick here is that Explorer also uses Internet Explorer to render those file browsing. We're going to kill as much stuff as we can. Oops. Okay, well, I guess we're rebooting now. I killed the wrong SVC host. It's been nice knowing you. Okay, so this is rebooting now. So let's think through what we know at this point. There's a claim on Wikipedia that this should work. We have a sketchy installer that doesn't work because our VM currently has IE6 on it. What can we do here? The first step, that's pretty unfortunate, is if you remember from the first of these streams, VMware and Hyper-V do not play together at all. So if we want to switch over to the Windows 95 VM to poke at it, we're going to have to end the stream. Because I need to reboot the machine in order to do anything. Which I'd prefer not to do. But how do we proceed here? Like, I would think that this would just work, and it's so close to working. Feels close to working. We've gotten to the point where we now get the installer to start, and then it fails. Fortunately, we don't have a good way to find out why it's failing. What about if we go the other route here? No, run it from the beginning. I'm going to cancel this. So, early versions of Windows XP were very tightly coupled to the very tightly coupled to the OS. Later versions of... Oh, did we break everything? We might have broken everything. Wait, no, you should totally work. File settings. You have a network adapter. I'm really confused about why these pages just aren't loading. Because we've seen that a few different places. So I tried the oldest version I could find on Web Archive. I don't know what the version is, because I can't run it. Wait, I can run it here, can't I? Come on, come out of here. Over here. So we have this. So this is the oldest version I was able to find. And it claims to be 295. Which at least one thing claimed was going to just work. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that is what the internet told me. And I trust absolutely everything that I've ever read on the internet, so... You found 126? Hmm. Oh, this is too new. Hmm. Oh, here we go. Where to get previous versions. Hmm. Yeah. I think the way that Procmon works relies on something newer than the oldest versions of Windows XP. The real problem here, and that I don't have a good answer for, is how to update this, because what I want to try... Seriously? I just kept trying and eventually it worked? I'm now all sorts of confused, but okay. So, what I was saying is, I'm thinking that if we reinstall, or if we update to a later version of Windows XP, we might be able to remove it. Oh! If I extract all the cab files and copy the results into one file, it might just work. I can do that. Why are you so unhappy right now, VM? Okay, let's kill this to start with. Let's turn this off so we have a little bit more to work with. We're going to reboot this VM. Actually, you know what? We have checkpoints here. Let's take advantage of those real quick. So, apply. Rewinding back in time before I made all those registry edits that may or may not have destroyed absolutely everything. Okay. So, according to Robin, I should be able to extract these. Can I just do that? Okay. Like, is there an easy way to do that? I'm a little surprised that XP actually had the ability to create zips like that. Yeah. Command line extract cab. Expand. Okay. They have the create command prompt here thing. No. Here we go. CD desktop / IE. Okay. Expand. Star.cab. Command -D star.cab. That works. Meekter star.cab IE. Huh. Look at that. Man, I wish all installers were this easy. It is actually kind of crazy that the official installer goes to so much work when I can just do this, and supposedly it may just work. Speaking of which, that's an interesting idea that I hadn't considered, is if all of this fails, we can also do our testing in wine. Go the route of extract all of this, run it in wine, and see where we're going. So to answer your question, MLG, we're trying to get Internet Explorer 5.5 to run on Windows XP because we were trying to do exploitation on it on Windows 95, and the debug environment for it was just absolutely terrible. So the hope here is that the debug environment on Windows XP is actually pretty decent. It has all the stuff. I can use Windows Debug. It's great. Ah! Okay. This looks different. Like, I kind of buy that this is a different, these definitely look different, right? So I'll buy that this is different. Okay, we're looking better. We're definitely looking better here. So... nope. What's going on? We're crashing, aren't we? But yeah, what I was saying was, one of the options that we could go with that would give us at least some options to work with would be to take a look at... Whoa. Oh, nope, we totally crashed it. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So, might not be a good idea to have both these running at the same time. But, this works. Can we go to Google yet? We can go to Google in this one. There we go. Okay, so this works. Which means we need to go back and do what we were doing before. And unfortunately, it looks like we've lost the VM. Well, I've lost the VM that I was working on, which confuses me. And oh, that's why we were doing right. That's super obvious. Now that I'm talking through this, we were doing Windows 95 testing, which meant that we had to use VMware to run Windows 95. And we can't run Hyper-V and Windows 95 at the same time, so I should have a VMware VM that has all this stuff already set up. That's why I couldn't find it, because it's a VMware VM that we were using for it previously, not this Hyper-V VM. That explains so much. Okay. In that case, we need to pull down the WebKit test suite again and start looking at that. Where were we for that? We need to come over here, and I want WebKit test suite. WebKit source. That'll work, right? Oh, this is nice. I want to clone this. We're going to come in here. This is the VM already. Git clone that. And we're just cloning directly into our www folder. Because why not, right? So the good news, Fabio, is that while that dialog box is up, there's a core dump on the system that we can grab and pull off, which is what we were taking advantage of with the Windows 95 stuff. Because we were able to use the time that window is open to pull the core dump off the system and actually use it that way. So, now we wait. Unfortunately, the WebKit source code is quite large. From what I remember, there's, tens or hundreds of thousands of files, and creating files has a lot of I/O penalties. It takes a fair amount of time to actually download all of it. It's really unfortunate that I didn't think it through and realize that we would need a new copy of it, or I would have started this much earlier. Because it is unfortunately going to take quite a while to pull down. I think last time it took us a good 15-20 minutes, so not the most exciting thing to watch for us to download to git clone something. Outside of that, what else can we do to prepare for this? So, last time we ran into a lot of issues trying to make the blanking on words here, but trying to make the JavaScript we wanted to do run, because we wanted to do some relatively simple JavaScript to essentially take a web page, just open up a list of web pages in our browser, and ideally open them one at a time, because we weren't able to open a whole bunch at the same time because of memory constraints and things like that. But we did that. We could play with that a little bit here. Do a little bit of testing about what we can and cannot do in Internet Explorer 5.5 on Windows XP. Might be a good idea of what place to start. Oh, we also need to grab WinDebug. So I want the... Oh. Yes, I know it is Labor Day. That is the reason why I'm able to stream today. Thank you, Google. Let's go grab... Wow, this is not good at all. So, google.com. I want Windows XP WinDebug. Didn't search for me at all, did you? Can I not type in this box? Okay. I can't type in any of these boxes. That's unfortunate. Let's reboot this real quick. See if that gets us anywhere a little bit better. Well, thanks again, Fabio, for tuning in. It's definitely been very useful. System was disconnected. Sure, reconnect. Come on. Yeah, confining it to a single depth is probably useful. I always forget about some of the more convenient options for Git. I'm really not a huge Git power user. I can do the basics, but beyond that, it's kind of scary and confusing. I can do some basic commits and pushes and pulls and things like that. I can even occasionally do a git revert and use individual checkouts. But once it gets to anything beyond a simple merge, I get confused and ask somebody who actually knows what they're doing to do it for me. So, let's try this again. Google.com. This lets us go to Google. I want to type in this box. You're not going to let me type in this box, are you? Huh, that's cool. Where is it? Come on. There we go. By using tab. Oh, that's clever. Oh no, I wanted to google.com. Okay. So I don't have it set up so you can actually see this, but I'm tabbing and hitting a whole bunch. So I would think that it would eventually, like when I hit... I think this is having the box selected, but it's not letting us search. Okay, we'll do it this way. I can manually type in a search result. Yeah, that's probably what's going on. So did we get to the Microsoft site? No, we are still on the... Does this get us to... No. Yeah, doing it manually worked, but it doesn't help us. Given that it still doesn't give... Well, actually, wait a minute. What am I doing? I'm being kind of silly here, aren't I? I could just come over here and go to the Windows XP WinDebug. I want the development kit. I do not want the Windows 10 development kit. I want the ancient development kits. Where is the Windows 10 or Windows XP development kit? Yep. How do I... Sure. We'll download this. Oh no, this is like a web installer, isn't it? This might not work at all. What's it called? We'll see if this works. It's quite possible it does not. Plus our Ubuntu VM is going to be super slow right now, given that we're downloading so many files into its file system. Okay, so that went. I'm very skeptical that WinDebug is less than 1 megabyte, but we don't have much of a choice here. So we're going to load up another terminal here to make it small so that people can actually read what I'm typing. 2.168.5.144. Sue. Or www HTML. Right, so supposedly on that page that I was reading, the Windows 7 kit is what to use for Windows XP. Now, I was skimming it, so it's very, very possible that by skimming it, I missed something crucial, but At least the claim there was that it should work. I want this thing. Save it. Save it. Open it. And now crash and die horribly. Yep. That's what I thought. Okay. So the claim on that page was that it would, on this, was that debugging Windows XP, I guess this is probably from the Windows 7 documentation though, but it was claiming that I could use this to do it. Sure, let's look at this one. No, I don't want any of this. I want an ancient Windows development kit. Why do you hate me so much, computers? I just want you to work for me. Can I just package it up? Is that a thing? Like, can I just take what I have installed on my host here, package it up, and have it just work? Okay, let's grab this. This is a thing. So, I want this one. I want you to grab this slash... Oh, you're not gonna do that at all, are you? SCP slash MNT slash D 80K debuggers redist. So I don't know what this is, but apparently it's an MSI that is the redistributable version of the debuggers. So maybe this works. And let's give this a try. Fresh here. I want this one. Not very promising that it isn't even telling me that that's an executable. But we'll see. Okay. We're moving this around. It's copying. And we're copying, and we're copying, and we're copying. Okay. Moment of truth. Ah? Ah? Oh. Oh. This is most unfortunate. Like, I was super hopeful that this would be a useful way to go, given that it seems like it should work relatively easily. But we're running into a ton of issues here. Like, I want a fully up-to-date Windows XP VM right now, is what I really want to have. Let's figure out how to do that. Let's start there. So, for whatever reason, Windows Update is failing. Let's start there. Why is Windows Update failing? Look at that other VM we had. So we built this, where'd it go? We built this VM, which is the Windows XP N VM. So not only is it a slightly different version of Windows XP, it's also not completely broken like the one that we have that we're using. So let's give this a try. If I load this thing, like, how up-to-date can I get this VM relatively quickly? Like, pull down Service Pack 3 and run it. Like, I'm pretty curious, can I pull down Service Pack 3 and still run IE55 the way that we were just there? My guess is yes, but I don't know. Because if we pull down like, if we get up to SP3, we should be able to get the modern Windows Development Kit running, and use that. I'm also a little curious if what is this, and why are you popping up? Why? I don't have... Oh, that's awful. I hate the, Apple stuff so much, so... Good night, Animoini. It's been nice having you. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you, whatever it is you have to wake up early for goes well. But no, in order to do some of the video editing, I had to install QuickTime so I could output the X264 codecs from the Adobe products. Which now means I have to deal with the Apple updater running all the time and popping up whenever it needs to update QuickTime, which is apparently constantly. Like, I installed this last week. Why are you asking me if I want to update your product this week? Okay, so this is up and running. Can I let's start from the simple thing. Let's checkpoint this real quick. So, checkpoint. Before doing stuffs. Have a checkpoint. I want to now try and do Windows Update. Will you let me update you? An internet connection is required. Right, we didn't connect this to the network because I thought this was not going to come with a driver or anything. So, settings, we have to shut you back down to work, don't we? So, shut down. Shut down. Okay. Settings. I want a network adapter. I want to remove this one because this is the complicated network one. I want the legacy one. Add that. It's on the virtual switch. We're good. Put it back up. Okay. And it's running, 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 and it's running. Try this again. Ah? Oh yes, I'm very concerned that my antivirus might not be installed on this machine. Given that, like, having this on the internet, I mean, like, I'm glad that this is, like, triply natted at this point, because if it was directly connected by the internet, I think somebody did some research a while back, like, how fast does a Windows 90 like old computer get owned if you just put it on the internet? And the answer is before you can update it. I mean, like if you install a Windows 2003 server and just put it on the internet immediately after installing, it will be exploited and have things on it within 30 seconds. I don't know if that's still true, but I seem to remember reading some research quite a while back about that. That, like, people were actively and constantly attacking machines. Like, anything with an IP address they could reach. So, yep. I should be connected to internet. Nope. Yeah, I mean, like, my computer here doesn't really run any sort of antivirus either. Like, I have Windows Defender turned on, and that's about it. Because most antivirus, at least in my opinion, is not at all worth it. It slows down the computers, and it doesn't actually add much security to you. It adds attack surface, as we saw recently with Windows Defender. But, like, you're running reasonably with, like, for somebody who knows what they're doing and accepts the risks, I think running without antivirus is completely reasonable. Try again. Given that, like, I don't run as an admin usually, I have UAC turned on and turned on all the way. Like, with all those things on, it's going to be pretty hard for somebody to attack my computer. Come on, why is this not working? Like, I just want... It's interesting that this VM has a different Windows update mechanism than the other one I had, but it still isn't working, which is unfortunate. Yes, it's over a secure connection. I like how they're warning me that it's a secure connection. So... It's interesting that this long ago they warned people that it was going over a secure connection, as opposed to today when they warn me that it's not going over a secure connection. So, you used to be able to download the service packs, right? Yep. There we go. So I am currently downloading the Windows XP Service Pack 2 installer. And hopefully I'm going to be able to move that over and run it, and we'll be up to date-ish. Like, hopefully Service Pack 2 will be close enough that we can actually update all the way. And my hope here is that once we get up to a modern system, we'll be able to get the debugger stuff running, be able to do things, and still be able to use that trick to, like, just extract all those cabs, and still be able to run that old version of IE. That's my hope here. Okay, so that's downloaded. I need to come in. Wow, that is still going. But I want to scp download / Windows. Seriously? Oh, it's because I don't know how to type. 192.168.5.144 home directory. It's a big installer. This is going to take a little while to install, but cp we've got that. We're going to come in here. We want to go. We have to HTTP. Okay, we want this thing. Yes. This is probably the fastest connection speed that Windows XP has ever had. I'm actually reasonably surprised that it's only going megabytes a second, given that it's going from a VM to a local VM to a local VM. I kind of would have expected it to be a lot faster than that. Like, this is the same speed I downloaded it from the internet at. Which is really weird. Microsoft seems to shut off the... Oh, did they shut off all of them? Well, getting it up to XP2 like this will be okay, then. Like, I'll be okay if I can get to XP2. I think I'll be okay. Because then Procmon should start working again. Come on. Run! I hope this works. At least this doesn't come off a sketchy random website that I got off Google. It came from the Microsoft downloads page, so I'm at least somewhat confident that this is not going to cryptolocker my VM. So my understanding is that the service packs should be relatively complete and just work. But I might be completely wrong. It's been a long time since I dealt with the Windows XP service packs. But I thought I was able to just dump in Service Pack 2 and have it work. But it's been quite a while since I did that. Like, we stopped using XP back when Windows 7 came out. Like, we didn't move to Vista, but we did move to Windows 7 and basically stopped supporting it. Not that much longer afterwards. So, we're talking, it's been 8 years since I touched a Windows XP machine for anything, you know, real. Okay. Oh, nope, you were totally correct. Okay, so we got that. We need the Service Pack 1A. Let's grab that. And while I'm at it, let's download the Service Pack 3. Oh, I was doing this the wrong way, wasn't I? I could do a network install, or I can download an ISO, and I can just mount an ISO, can't I? That probably makes way more sense than trying to transfer everything over like this. So, once this works, I'm going to pull this over. 12 seconds. 10 seconds. 9 seconds. 7 seconds. 4 seconds. 1. Done. Okay, here we go. This is SP1. Okay, I do like that auto runs is still turned on here. Thank you very much. Click here to install. Sure. Yeah, you could do the whole slipstream stuff to get it all set up. Like, I definitely remember doing slipstreaming. Like, you were able to take the installation media, you build a new installer, which has all the updates built in. But as far as I can tell, on the MSDN website, my only options for XP are like just different versions of it. Like, do I want the 64-bit version or the 32-bit version? There's also, so I can get. Oh no, I do have one that I can get with Service Pack 3. That's interesting. Let's download to that too. It's entirely possible that it's detected that the Service Pack version of the system installed is newer than the update you were applying to it. No. But okay. So do I want Service Pack 2? So I'm currently also downloading the installation media that comes with Service Pack 3. Given that we now know that we can run IE5 from Windows XP without worrying too much, I'm gonna give it a try and see if I can, like, I'll just create a VM that is with Service Pack 3, and it's entirely possible that's going to be faster than installing the Service Packs. So I want this window over here. Next, XP SP3, Gen 1 still, 512 megabytes, because that is infinity megabytes of memory for Windows XP. We're going to install, yes, we're going to want, which of these is it? With Service Pack 3. Oh, we want the one with Service Pack 3, finish. Okay, connect, start, and you can go over here in the corner. Concludes, this concludes. Why? It's kind of crazy how hard it is to get computers to work. Like, I forget, especially given that computers more or less just work now. Like, remembering back to how complicated it was to make even basic stuff work 10 years ago. I mean, this is 10 years ago. Like, I didn't even deal with it. Yeah. I was thinking about that. Let's try that. Can I just... This is the NVM. It's weird that I'm a little surprised that there might be separate, given that there are not XPN service packs. But it's kind of crazy to me that, like, when you go back 10, 20 years, even having a working desktop was difficult. Like, it took work to make everything work. Whereas now, like, a Windows computer, you actually have to work reasonably difficult. Like, you have to do reasonable amounts of work to break it. Like, if you want to ransomware your computer, you actually have to put a little bit of work into it. It's not as easy as just going to some random sketchy website anymore. You have to install it, tell your computer that, yes, I actually want to, you know, have my computer get owned. Usually you have to, like, click off a UAC prompt and do things like that. And then it will get crypto-lockered, but you have to actually work for it on a modern computer. Whereas, I mean, Windows XP days, I just shoved a CD inside and it ran anything it wanted off of it, and it's going to install it. And this is the default user account that got created. And even then, getting a up-to-date VM has been a little bit of a struggle. So, let's see if this works. I'm kind of curious what happens, because we screwed up quite a bit of stuff in the registry. Like, I'm a little curious if this update is going to install, given that we mucked with so much stuff. Like, is it going to try and verify that Internet Explorer is there and that the right versions of Internet Explorer are there? But we're going to try it and see. So, yes, you are going to open. I agree, whatever it says. Don't archive files. I don't care. I am actually a little curious, which is going to be faster, the new install on the right, or installing service packs one at a time like this. I suspect the new install is going to be much faster, but I don't know enough to say that for sure. So I guess while we're waiting for this to actually go through and finish, I might as well ask the people who are watching here. One thing that I could use some input on is, like I was saying, my intention is to do regular videos. So ideally try and put out a video every week. And while I have, I've been collecting ideas for things to do. So last Friday, I put out one on summarizing all the PDF crack work we did. Eventually, I'm going to do one for NumPy, the Intel Skylake bug, and eventually this stuff we're doing right now. But the NumPy stuff I want to hold off on for a little while because I'm still working on trying to get it properly reported and everything, because I really procrastinated with that one. But going forward, I have a list of other ideas. Things like one of the most common questions I get is what setup do I use? I mean, it came up first thing today. What virtualization platform do I use? Why do I use it? What kind of hardware do I have? Occasionally I get what does the streaming setup look like and things like that. And something it'd be relatively straightforward to go through and set up, and here is the system I use for streaming. Here's the one I use for CTFs. Here's just a little overview for how all of it works. There's some other things, though, that might be more interesting. I've got a couple different ideas for doing, talking about bespoke gadgets. What is a bespoke gadget? Why would you use it? How do you find them? Things like that. As well as ways that I approach designing challenges. So if I'm going to build a CTF challenge, how do I go about doing it? What are my thoughts on good design? What makes a challenge good or not good? Things like that. But I don't actually know what is going to be the most interesting for viewers. So if anybody who is watching now has thoughts on it, I would love to hear them. Because I can make videos that I would like to see, which is probably what I'm going to do either way. But I'm not the primary audience who's watching them. So if people have ideas or thoughts on what type of stuff, I'm pretty interested in hearing about them. So that's mostly my way of making a little bit of small talk while we wait for all of this to work. Unfortunately, we're staring down quite a long time of installation here. At the very least, the VM on the right is going to take another half an hour to install. The VM on the left is going to take an unknown amount of time to update. I don't really have anything else for us to work on while we're waiting on this, because I really do want to get the Windows XP stuff working as well as we can, because it's going to make debugging much better. I think the right approach here is that at this point we're gonna call it a little bit of an early day. I know I had said I intended to go for another hour or two, but at this point, we're gonna spend another half an hour just installing VMs, and I don't think it's the most useful thing to do on stream. We're not doing anything that is going to, help anybody to watch. So I think I'm probably going to, at this point, I'll have all this go and call it a day for today. We'll get all these ready to go. And then on Wednesday, my understanding is that on Wednesday, Ginvale is finally coming back. He's been on vacation for the past couple weeks, so his streams are coming back this Wednesday. So our Wednesday stream should start about 4 o'clock. The precise time depends on when Ginvale finishes. He's usually goes from about 2 to 4 my time, and then I'll start streaming whenever he finishes for the day. And then hopefully go at least 3 or 4 hours from there. And ideally, I'm going to have stuff working by then. So my goal is that we're going to call it an evening now. I'll get these set up later this evening. And when Wednesday rolls around, we'll be ready to actually start going here. We'll have these VMs up and ready to go. I might go as far as getting the WinDebug stuff up and running, and we can start diving directly into, we're going to rerun all those inputs through Internet Explorer 5.5 and actually give it a try. So, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. I think at this point, this is going to be about it for the stream, because sitting here and watching stuff install is not interesting for me. It's not really interesting for you. And thanks for the input here. I definitely will keep that in mind. I'm thinking this week's video, I'm going to try and put together between Tuesday and Thursday and talk about just the bespoke gadgets. They're so incredibly useful when it comes to playing in CTFs and working on ponables. Having a relatively concise explanation of what they are, I think it'd be useful for a lot of players. So I'm going to do that next. And then I'm hoping that between Aces CTF and definitely from Seesaw, there's going to be some good challenges that I'll be able to put together interesting walkthroughs of, similar to the PDF crack stuff. So with that said, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. It's definitely been nice getting back into streaming. It's something that I missed a lot more than I thought I would, not being able to do it. Although, as you may be able to hear, the 2.5 hours we've been going now are starting to take a little bit of a toll on my voice. So, like I said, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll be right back here Wednesday afternoon. Whenever Ginvale ends is when I'll be starting, but that should be about 4 p.m. Eastern US time. So about an hour later than I did today. So, like I said, thanks again, everybody, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Bye.